So it's important to note the CFPB will likely go in and close your complaint as soon as you submit it. Maybe, I don't know if it's our computer system or just how CFPB is. They'll say it's been submitted once before. That's not the case though. Like I said, there's an issue with their system. If you run into it, you're going to call them at this number, 855-412-2372. Or if the number on their site changed, call the number on their site and advise them that they closed an error. They're going to ask you if you have documents attached. You're going to tell them yes. Once they manually submit it, you're going to go back in to upload your documents and then submit it again. And then it will be successful. And then that's when that 4-day clock ticks. The 4 days based off of 15 USC 1681C-2, the block of information section. We're going to look at it. So like I said, I attached on the last page, we're going to go through it, how the complaint should look, the identity theft affidavit. And then again, I want to repeat identity theft, right? Identity theft, we got to look at it from a legal definition. We're not looking at identity theft as someone like the regular definition. Someone stole my identity, that kind of thing. Identity theft in a legal term, because we're using legal terms. We're not filing fake police reports, all of that. We're going based off of legal definitions. Identity theft, legal definition, federal definition means that you did not provide consent to them. What should you combine with? You did not provide consent to them. Permissible purpose law. You didn't give them written instructions to put that on your report. So 15 USC 1681B number 2, right? You as a consumer, you have to give these people permission to report this information. That's why when we say, credit reporting is optional, while it can make a good, what's that thing called? Clickbait, for content, it's good, it gets the views, all that, it's true. So the federal laws that back you up, because we're not here, capping about something that we just, are talking about. So you didn't provide them written permission. I know none of y'all provided them written permission to put these collections and all that on your client's reports. So that's a violation of 15 USC 1681B A number 2. Any consumer reporting agency, remember, any means no restriction. Consumer reporting agency, any consumer reporting agency, this isn't limited to Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. So this goes back to LexisNexis. This goes back to, SageStream. This goes back to the early warning people, all these consumer reporting agencies. They can only furnish a consumer report with your written instructions, right? This leads way to identity theft. So the way I want y'all to think, just add it together. When you're reading written instructions, they didn't get my written instructions, that's automatically identity theft. They didn't get my written instructions. That's identity theft. So you want to marry 1681B number 2 and 1681C-2. You want to marry those laws. And then we want to go back to what's it called? Truth in lending. So the definition of a credit card, right? Credit card is 15 USC 1602L. Means any card, plate, coupon book, or other credit device existing for the purpose of obtaining money, property, labor, or services on credit. What does that mean? That means if you did not provide the company that's reporting with consent to share your credit card, what's your credit card in our instance? What can you think of? Your social security number, your identification. If you didn't give them that permission to share it with a different entity, what is that? Definitions again. Consumer reporting agency, right? So that could be Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, whoever is reporting. That's a violation of 15 USC 1681C-2, the block of information section. That law is very, very powerful. I want y'all to use it. We talked about it. We've talked about, 6802. We talked about 1666B. All that stuff is good. But using these, we've been seeing it's been successful as well. That's not to say to throw out all the consumer laws. I just want it to be simple for y'all, especially if you're new to these laws. Use this method. So the block of information section, what is it saying? Except as otherwise provided, a consumer reporting agency shall block. I spoke about shall. I spoke about may. Shall means you have to do it. May means it's optional. Remember, pause when you're reading these terms, these words. A consumer reporting agency, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax shall. So they have to block the reporting of any information in the file of a consumer that the consumer identifies as information that resulted from an alleged identity theft, not later than 4 business days after the date of receipt by such agency of. So this is where some people mess up too. You got to include everything. We're gonna talk about it. So appropriate proof of the identity of the consumer. So what is that? Copy of your ID. So they could identify you. Number two, what do you have to include? A copy of an identity theft report. That's why we go to identitytheft.gov, right? The report that you're going to complete. Number three, identification of such information by the consumer. So this goes back to any item. So, that credit card that's reporting, that collection, that charge off, etc. So you got to identify the information. Hard inquiries, the easiest thing people get deleted with it. And then number four, this is where a lot of people forget. And we've refined our process over time. So sometimes we would technically forget to put this in there too. This is basically your template letter, but you want to specifically include a statement that the information is not information relating to any transaction made by you, the consumer. Transactions are very important. Someone trying to come in. Hold on. So you want to make sure that you make a statement that the information is not information relating to any transaction by you, the consumer. And I highlighted that. It's included. You can include it in the identity theft report. You don't have to, but I just recommend best practices. Go ahead. And it could be included in your CFPB complaint as well. Do not forget this separate notice. This is basically, number four is basically your template letter, but you want to have a statement in there that talks about the information is not information relating to any transaction made by you, the consumer. So kind of like how some people say, oh, this is not my account. It's kind of similar in a sense, but it's because you didn't give them, permission to put it. That's technically why when people say the account is not mine, they're still able to get it deleted. They're not using like, law technically, but you can still get it deleted that way. And then you have no claim unless all of the above is included in the complaint submitted to the CFPB. Why is having a claim important? Having a claim is important because if you need to go to the extent of suing these people, you have a claim. If you have a claim showing that you attempted to settle the matter privately. So this is what we recommend you do initially to get things going. And then if you wanted to follow up with the affidavit, or you could follow up with the, same type of spiel, it just puts more into your claim that you attempted to resolve it. Because by definition, you're letting them know that there was an alleged identity theft, there was identity theft, whatever you want to call it, and you have proof that they received the information. You're calling into them, letting them know, I sent you this. It should have been deleted, right? So when we actually talk about the CFPB complaint, you want to follow these prompts. Remember, you're going to create your account on the CFPB. That's how they do it now. When it goes to the what is this complaint about, it's going to have credit reporting, repair services, or other personal consumer reports. We select credit reporting. We select improper use of your report. And why do we select improper use of your report? Because the information was shared without your express written consent. 15 USC 1681B number 2. As you go through it, I want y'all to always remember permissible purpose. 15 USC 1681B number 2. Because there's a permissible purpose law, you didn't give them that written consent. It's an alleged identity theft. It's an identity theft. So block of information applies. 15 USC 1681C-2. If you want to add some extra sauce to it, 18 USC 1028A is aggravated identity theft. That's optional, but I want to make it as simple as possible for y'all because you could run in a rabbit hole, studying about these consumer laws. And that's why we've been able to put out, over 1,000 videos, over 100 podcast episodes because there's so much information, but I want it to be simple for y'all. You know what I'm saying? So then you're going to select a reporting company, use your reporting properly. Remember, information was shared without your consent. And then they're going to ask you if you want to select yes or no if you attempted to resolve it. You're going to select no if this is your first time you're submitting a complaint based off of these federal laws. So if you were just submitting stuff, it wasn't necessarily related to 1681C-2. It wasn't related to permissible purpose. Then that's when, you would select no. But if you already did, you can select yes. And then under what happened, like I said, you're going to technically create your own complaint, but I'm going to give y'all what we put for late payments specifically. So you're going to write up your complaint. You're going to basically explain what happened. I like to recommend keep it short and sweet. You don't have to quote all these laws. You don't have to sound super smart. It's really up to you. There's no template for it. It goes back to every template letter that you get from us. You want to paint it to your own situation. So I copied and pasted what we did for a recent late payment that we got corrected for a client. And I think it was an auto loan for them. So we just said, I just looked at my consumer reports and noticed a late payment on an account that I was never late for. Consumer reporting agencies have assumed a vital role. Look, they've assumed a vital role. You see, I'm including that congressional findings section. We want to let them know what it is that they do. They've assumed a vital role and have a responsibility to report consumer information to the best of their ability with the maximum possible accuracy. That's 1681 EB. Like the Fair Credit Reporting Act clearly says. You see, I'm not quoting all these laws trying to sound like I'm smartest person in the world. We use Chase Bank as an example. We don't want to put the client's information in. Please investigate and provide proof with statements showing that these payments were late and proof that I authorized the reporting of this information. You see, we're basically talking about the laws without quoting the laws. So that's 1681B number 2. If proof cannot be provided, I demand these payments to be updated to on time as they should be, as I was never late. So that's what we typically put. That's what my team puts in the CFPB box. Select the box to publish. Under what would be a fair resolution, you could write something along the lines of, I demand a credit reporting agency do what is fair and equitable and remove the following accounts based off of these federal violations. And then you list the accounts. It could be collections, charge-offs, pretty much whatever. You can do the typical thing of specific items doing what you need to do, like bankruptcy, request a LexisNexis, collection, debt validation, all that. But this is all this I'm giving y'all is like a holistic way to, it's like a universal touch on these laws essentially. And